All right, guys, this is Donnie.
And Sandra.
And we are continuing on with the three urban legends, for Chatham County that I was able to pull up. And this one here, this one's going to be Mermaid Point. And so just to kind of rehash just a little bit in case you have not seen the other two, we are at Chatham County, North Carolina. This is the 50th county on our challenge to at least stay at least one night in all 100 counties in North Carolina. We are going to be here for 2 nights, and so, but this is our 50th one. We're halfway through this challenge, and we also like to share the fun facts about the counties, location reviews that we stay at in our RV, and campgrounds, Harvest Host, all different types of places that we stay. We like to do reviews, and that way other RVers can know what's in the area and if they would like to stay also. And we like to locate local ghost stories or urban legends in these counties if we can find one. And so I found 3 for Chatham County, but this one here is called Mermaid Point. And again, if you've not seen the other 2, which is the Devil's Tramping Ground and the Shower of Blood. The Shower of Blood was an actual event that supposedly happened, so make sure you check that out. Very interesting background on these urban legends. But at any rate, Mermaid Point. Chatham County sits in the heart of North Carolina, of the North Carolina Piedmont, over 100 miles from the ocean. Now, for those of you that don't know, North Carolina is broken up into 3 main regions. You got the mountain region, you got the Piedmont, and then you got the coastal region. And so that's what they mean by Piedmont. And so you can check that out. Now, they do detail and you can break that down even further, but that's the 3 main regions that you'll see. Okay, it goes on. It says it's not the first place you'd go to expecting to see mermaids. But according to one old North Carolina legend, Chatham County was just the place to see them. Mermaid Point is the name of the spot in southeastern Chatham County where the Deep and Hall rivers meet to form the Cape Fear River. From Mermaid Point, the Cape Fear flows through eastern North Carolina down to around Wilmington, where it broadens and finally joins in the sea near Bald Head Island. At the place from which the river derives its name, Cape Fear itself, the name is said to come from the 16th century explorers Sir Richard Grenville and John White, both of whom nearly wrecked their ships when navigating the Cape. The Cape Fear River was one of the early economic drivers of North Carolina. It provided transportation from Piedmont down to the port of Wilmington. Although going all the way down the river required passing through a series of dangerous falls and rapids, the river was once teeming with Atlantic sturgeon, a strange-looking ancient species of fish that spends most of its life in the oceans, but, like the salmon, travels up into fresh water to spawn. Now, let me back up just a second. That sturgeon that they're talking about, that's one of the animals that they think the Loch Ness Monster may be. It may be nothing more than a sturgeon. That's one of the, I'm just going to throw that out at you. But anyway, the sturgeon's eggs are highly prized as caviar, and because of this, it was hunted to near extinction in the 19th century. With all of its potential for money to be made, the banks of the Cape Fear became a draw for settlers. In 1740, 4 Scotsmen from Algeshire, Duncan Campbell, James McLaughlin, and the brothers Hector and Neil McNeil purchased several large tracts of land in the area where the Haw and Deep rivers merged into the Cape Fear to form a town named Lockville. The fledgling settlement they planted was soon joined by a man by the name of Ambrose Ramsay, who calculate that if there's money to be made, that means there's money to be spent. And he was pretty sure he knew one of the best ways for this to happen. And so he opened a tavern. That's going to be key. I want you to notice that. Notice that tavern. That's going to be very key. Ramsay's tavern sat right by the banks of the Deep River, a short distance upstream of where it joined with the Haw. When people left the tavern at the end of the night, this confluence was on the path home, and in the middle of this broad channel was a long white sandbar, and it was on this channel that people said they saw mermaids. They said that the mermaids would sit on the sandbar at night, combing their long hair in the moonlight. People walking home from the tavern would see them laughing, singing, and playing and splashing in the water. They would dive below the surface if anyone should call out to them or try to approach. Mermaids are thought to be creatures of the sea, so why were they here, so far inland? The explanation came forth that everyone knew mermaids were vain creatures. They swam up from the coast to wash the salt from their hair, so it would be more shiny and beautiful. It's from this gathering that the area came to be known as Mermaid Point. Of course, it may mean something that the people always seem to see the mermaids on their way home from the tavern. And never on the way to the tavern. So, again, that's key. The town of Lockville failed to thrive, and eventually what business there was taken up by the nearby towns of Moncure and Haywood. Ambrose Ramsay's tavern stood until the late 19th century when it was destroyed in a flood. This was about the same time that the sightings of the mermaids stopped. It's noted that the disappearance of the mermaids seemed to coincide with the building of the first of a series of dams and locks along the course of the Cape Fear, perhaps cutting off the path of the mermaids up from the sea. It could be. It could be. As for that mermaid drawing sandbar, sadly, it's no longer visible. The construction of Buckhorn Dam raised the water levels in the area, and the sandbar sank beneath the surface. Now, this is some backgrounds on mermaids, just something short. A mermaid is a mythical sea-dwelling creature, often described as having the head and body of a woman and the fish's tail below the waist. Stories of mermaids have existed for thousands of years and span cultures across the world, from coastal settlements in Ireland to the landlocked Karoo Desert in South Africa. I was kind of amazed at that. The English word mermaid is a compound of mer, Old English for sea, and maid, a girl or young woman. The symbol of the mermaid is as changeable as the sea itself. In some cultures, the mermaid signifies life and fertility within the ocean. In others, she embodies the destructive nature of the water, luring sailors to their deaths, serving as omens and for storms, unruly seas, and disaster. And so that was just a little snippet of what I found. I have pages and pages of notes on mermaids. And so just for time's sake, I cut it down to this. But I will say this, the meaning of the mermaid, they're just, depending on the culture and the area, they have their whole own thing. And so, but let's talk about the Little Mermaid. One of the most famous stories in Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid, published in 1837 in Copenhagen, Denmark, as a part of a collection of children's fairy tales, the story has been adapted to many different forms of media, including theater, opera, and most popularly, a Disney animated film in 1989. Andersen and Disney's version of the tale have noticeable differences. In Andersen's story, the mermaid princess loses her tongue to obtain legs, and every time she walks, her pain is compared to the walking on knives. While Disney's tale concludes with the heroine and the prince marrying, Andersen's story is somewhat more tragic. The princess fails to undo her curse, and the prince marries someone else. The Little Mermaid sacrifices herself and ends up living with the spirits of the air. In 1909, the Danish sculptor Edvard Eriksson was commissioned to create a statue inspired by Andersen's fairy tale. The bronze sculpture has remained a popular tourist attraction and icon of Copenhagen since its unveiling in 1913. And that is the urban legend of Mermaid Point. And so,
well, we got a map. Who drew the map that we have?
What about what?
The map with the urban legends of North Carolina.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Well, anyways, we have.
I could. It's a young lady. I don't think she's from North Carolina, but she does. We'll put a picture of that on the screen for you guys.
Has the Cape Fear Mermaid is one of the urban legends.
Yeah. She did a map of North Carolina and put several urban legends into that. Mm-hmm. And so I've actually had correspondence with her and asked her if she could do one for haunted locations, just different haunted locations also. And she said that she would like to do that, but she's already commissioned to do some other states. She doesn't do just North Carolina, but she does others. I will get that information, guys, and put that in the description below for my YouTubers and for my Facebook people. I'll put it in the description above. And if you guys want to go to her, you can check her out.
There's several urban legends on there that we've gone over before. The Cape Fear Mermaid, Boojin and Hootenanny.
The Gallinipper.
Yeah.
And so there's there's bunches of them. Bigfoot in general.
Yeah.
And the Uwharrie National Forest. And so I think that's on there. But at any rate, there's a bunch that we haven't done yet. Mm-hmm. And so, but she is always open to new ideas. Mm-hmm. And so if you guys want to contact her, she's a very friendly lady, very talented. And she's always open to something else. And so she actually offered to give me a bunch of those maps. Mm-hmm. And I could give away as prizes if I want to. Mm-hmm. And so she said that she'd give them to me. And if I wanted to give them out as prizes. So I'm thinking about doing that in the future. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I haven't got it enough and taken her offer on it, but that's what she's told me. And so, but other than that, guys, we hope you've enjoyed it. This has been 50 counties that we've done, and we're halfway there. We're halfway there, and so be looking forward to the next one. Check out the ones we've always done, that we've already done. And you guys take care, and we wish you the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.